world. How is everyone? How is everyone on this Saturday? Well, I myself got a lot done today. What did I get up to, you ask? Oh, thank you for asking. I'll tell you. Well, to be honest, I woke up feeling kind of weird, not gonna lie. But sometimes it's just a day, no biggie. But one thing, immediately, I think it's both for yourself and for you, but I woke up and instantly I was like, I need to pack. I really felt the need to I was like, I don't know. I was like, we're done. This is done, which doesn't really make a lot of sense, but you know how these things work. Anyway, that was also confirmed later today. So on that, I don't know if you guys know the song On the Road Again, but this is the vibe. Some of you will be moving. The winds of change are blowing. So yeah. And then I started studying some Greek. I'm going to be studying ancient Greek as well as modern day Greek. So I started that. That's pretty exciting. I also took out the Iliad by Homer because my obsession out with Apollo and all things Greece is hot to trot. It's on like Donkey Kong. And yeah, so I started studying Greek today. I started reading the Iliad today. I looked into revisited considering doing a degree in theology. I always come around to this. That's neither here nor there. But anyways, I was just following the thread, revisiting. But what I am going to revisit and follow through on is many years ago, I considered being a death doula. Whoa. There's rainbows on the skies right now, even though it's very cloudy and rainy. Okay, well, the angels are here. Hold on, Yeah, and so I say this only because my experience has shown me that if you follow the thread, sometimes the thing that spirit is guiding you towards, you think it's about a thing initially. Like for instance, when I was guided to do boat building, and that was a whole following a thread. I followed that thread. It took about a year and a half of following what was just a simple vision where I was like, what? And then I just followed the thread and followed the thread. Didn't know where it was going to go to, and it led me to boat building, which led me to a boat building apprenticeship in Maine. And I thought this boat building apprenticeship, I was like, oh, ding, 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 again, we solved the mystery. I'm going to be a boat builder. That's my purpose. No, it was never about the boat building. It gave me some invaluable skills, but it was so much more than the boat building. Life-changing. So with being a death doula, now it's funny because, oh, weird, we're doing a full circle. Oh, when I left New York with my then girlfriend. We came back to Canada because she was Canadian too. We landed in this city in February. We broke up February 13th. I hated being here because, as mentioned, this has always been a hard city for me. And I went back to Toronto, and I was not doing well. Physically, I was having a lot of stuff going on. And anyway, there's a healer. If you're in Toronto, you want to see an amazing healer, he's on Harvard Street. His name's Tai Chi. And anyways, incredible. Has nothing to do with Tai Chi. That's just his name. He's Japanese. Any hoodle. And my following the thread of becoming a death doula, I hadn't told anyone about it. Hadn't told a single soul. It was just like I was keeping it like a little pebble in my pocket for me to hold in my hand, like I like to do. And when I went to see him, he did a lot of stuff. We covered a lot of territory, but he was like, and specifically, I should mention, what I was being shown is that I should work with dying children. Oh, it's heavy, I know, but this seems to be where my gift flies because I work a lot with children. Anyway, he had said to me, he was like, he didn't say death doula, but he was like, you need to be working. He's like, even if you were just to go to this sick kids hospital and sit there, he's like, have you considered working with dying children? And I was like, my eyes, I get this big where I was like, how could you possibly know? But he also knew a lot of things because, fuck, we covered a lot of territory in that session. Anyway, but that was, when did we come back? I'm trying to figure out what the cycle has been. When did I come back here? 2014. Oh my god, it's been 10 years going on. This will be, I think, the 11th year. This is almost like a full cycle, the 10-year cycle. Whoa. Okay. And I'd said that about moving to New York too. I think it took 10 years from the time that I had loosely said, oh, I'm gonna move to New York, to me actually moving to New York. I believe it was 10 years. Again, going back to some seeds, when you plant them, they take a bit of time. So anyway, like many things, I get really excited. Never know where it's gonna go. And I don't know if I am to be a death doula, but what I do know is that sometimes, again, following the thread, like doing the training is only just gonna make me more invaluable as an empathic person. Because what I've learned is that the world doesn't know how to deal with big, heavy feelings, especially grief. And I seem to have a gift of foraying into like the deepest, darkest areas. So I thought, you know what? I've been looking at these courses for a while. Let's just do it. Anyway, so that's what I covered. That's what I've seemingly covered today. That I'm moving. I mean, yeah, there's things, a lot of things, but I feel like it was a productive day, especially like reading the Iliad, and especially with this goddamn eye. This is, I think, another part of the message. I was just chuckling just now because I had a friend visit me, and she's blind now. So she couldn't have informed me, but I was like, how is it that no one has informed me that I fucking have a lazy eye? I've never had a lazy eye, and I took a video before I started this video because I wanted to see what my eyes look like if I made my eyes go cross. This eye will not go cross. I thought my eye was going inward and it was shooting more to the right. So I feel as though for some of you, what is going to be coming up is that you're going to have an epiphany about something about yourself. Maybe it is a physical thing. Maybe it's something like things like with cheating. I always see people in the comments being like, should I tell my best friend that I know that their spouse is cheating? And it's like, hello, I don't know how it's even a question, because I'm just like, would you want to have the whole world know that someone was cheating on you and everyone knew but you and no one wanted to tell you? Like, hello. Anyway, so I feel like for some of you, yeah, there's going to be some kind of epiphany and you're going to be like, why the fuck did no one in my life tell me about this very obvious thing? So that's part of the message. Okay. Oh, let's put this over here for a second. Oh, I'm heating up. Heating up, Buttercup. Okay, let's get into it, because... Oh. Also, do I want to wear my glasses? Yeah, I have to start wearing my glasses now, because what has led to this is that it's compensating for this eye. And if I don't want to lose total sight in this eye before I have surgery, I need to start wearing my glasses, and it's very uncomfortable. Oh, okay. Anyway, we went back to the Crooked Heart of Mercy, and I just flipped to a page to be like, is there a message in here? There is. Page 152. Watching his silhouette, I think of us when we were young. Francis used to tell me to pray. Ask for help, he'd say. I think I was about 20 when I turned on him and said, oh, fuck off with your imaginary friend. He looked at me with a pained expression. Maggie, even if there's nothing out there, at the very least, you might be waking up some sleepy part of your brain and putting it to work. You're acknowledging that you need help, and that's huge. That's Francis. Over and over. No matter what, he finds a way to hope. I don't know why. Now, guys, when it rains, I call it Weepy Wednesdays. When I used to work with kids, little kids, oh my God. I call it Weepy Wednesday because as soon as the rain came, those kids would be crying. And to be honest, my heart's been crying a little bit today. Nothing nothing really to cry about. I'm just collectively, I don't know. Things are making me, when there's no reason to feel weepy, but you're just weepy in your heart? I just roll with it, where I'm like, you know what, let it come. So perhaps some of you are weepy in your heart. Yeah, I even felt weepy, got really sad, even though I'm so excited to work with Apollo. I really actually so sad. I was like, why did it take me 43 years to discover Apollo? Like, for me, it's like, this is like life-changing, guys. Life-changing. You might be like, snooze fast. That's okay. You can click off. But for me, life-changing. But yeah, there's been this like grief around being like, oh my God, had I known about... This is the thing. There's something obvious, going back to the eye. I feel like something's going to come to your attention, and you're going to be pissed, be like, what the fuck? Why did no one point this out? Or why wasn't this brought to my attention sooner? That's how I feel about old Apollo. And then there's like this grief of being like, I don't know how to describe it other than a Weepy Wednesday. Okay, sorry guys, I need to hydrate. I'm getting out the coconut water besides the real water. Today's a hydration day. Maybe some of you need some electrolytes. Take care of your body, Okay, then, in terms of channeled messages, we'll swing back around to this, because there's like something here about, again, faith, belief. And I'd said it in other videos of when I've wrestled with my faith and trust. And I like that. I think it's important to question your belief systems and not just be complacent. And what I deduced for myself is that even if there was nothing, if all I became was like a big pile of dust and dirt pile, would it still be worth it for me to have a set of belief systems and conduct myself in a way? And like, is it worth it? And I was like, yeah, like kindness. I would still want to be kind. Even if all I became was a pile of rubble, I would still believe in kindness. So there's something here about I suspect for some of you, there's something where you're like, you think something's stupid or you don't believe in something. And sometimes, again, it's not about, like what I was saying about being a death doula, but like sometimes it's not about the thing, it's about something else so much more. Again, even if it's just opening up a different part of your brain or thinking about something slightly differently, it's good to ask questions. Questions are really great. Like, let's go back to the time of philosophy in the sense of like asking questions. Because thinking about things is different than observation. And they were showing this to me in the channeled message, that thinking, again, when you haven't learned how to master your mind rules you. And it's like a dog with a bone. It always has to have a bone. And then once it has a bone, it just shows me as something marching. March, march, march. Kind of like a guard. Or it just marches back and forth. It doesn't really accomplish much, but it has this thing, Whereas when you ask questions, for me, I always, again, liken it to like observing the cup from all angles, Because if you hold it up like this, it can be very flat, it can be very 2D as opposed to 3D. It's about seeing all the dimensions, trying to make sense of a mystery as opposed to solve it. Oh, this is a cup. Well, even before we give things a name, like there's always so much more. Anyways, I digress. Okay. Now, my walk yesterday, I believe it was, there was spray paint on this building, and it said, down with the claws, but claws spelled C-L-A-W-S, and then it had these little cat claw marks. And instantly Spirit showed me someone who's been not very nice. We'll call him a karmic or whatever, just kind of like a real turd burglar. Oh, I gotta watch these candles here. I feel like things are getting a little out of hand. I don't want to set the house on fire today. I don't need that. Yeah, Spirit just showed me picking up a real bad kitty and just being like, you know, like, you're a bad little kitty, and being like, well, you've abused your claw privileges. So they just show me like clipping these claws to be like, you cannot go around. Your claws are meant to protect yourself or to like run up a tree, you know? You're not supposed to just go up to inadvertently like nice people and claw their face. You've abused your privileges, so now you don't get to have I just see this like real fluffy, bitchy white cat, super floofy, super bitchy. And like Spirit's not mad, but they're just like, no, no, no. Like, you are a real bad kitty. Get over here. And the cat looking really pissy, but Spirit's got it and is like, yeah, you don't get to have claws anymore. You don't get to go around clawing out eyes. So there's that. And then now we're gonna get real into it. Okay, so the other day I was watching a video and dye came up, like DYI, like things that you use to color things with. And Spirit was drawing my attention. Again, it's always with words with me and Spirit. We're always like, especially when there's like double meanings and double spellings. So like morning, like morning time, morning spelled M-O-R-N-I-N-G, and then morning, you know? So anyways, we get into a lot of wordplay, Spirit and I, because I do love words, language. So I was thinking about it, like die and die, dying versus dying. And I was like, huh. And I was like, well, it's interesting that dying, the act of dying, like when we depart, is spelled D-I-E. But then when we say dying, it goes to the other spelling. And then Spirit, again, I had to look up, I was like, okay, well, let's Google all the definitions here and like whatever. Because I was like, there's something here about dying, leaving, and dying. So when I looked up DYE, and I went through a few, what stood out, what they wanted me to write, but it ties into dying, like our life. Because in Japanese culture, they start mourning from the moment you're born, because essentially the moment that you are alive means that you're in the process of dying. You know, you're just moving towards that. And at the end of your life is the celebration, because then it's the culmination of your whole life to celebrate who you were in your totality. So, DYE, imparting color that resists fading. And I like that because I've been watching all these near-death experience videos, and how I've always seen myself in Spirit, and then when I look at pictures of the cosmos, I feel like that's more an apt description of our energetic bodies. And so, in hearing about this experience, is that everything that we do in this life is just like, it's like an imprint. It gets imprinted into this musical cosmology, you know, that everything exists. It's this imprinting. But because I see us as color, this imparting color that resists fading. And then they showed me the word imbue, which is inspire or permeate. So, and dying does that. You imbue color. You imbue an essence. So I liken this process of dying as we're leaving an imprint of our color that can never fade. You know, it resists, it's imprinted forever. Anyway, so they wanted to talk about that. Okay, and then in all of my Apollo, really, the research has been huge. Many a documentary now has been watched. And then the Iliad, because the Iliad includes stories of Apollo. Okay, so there was this real emphasis on movement versus time. Because in the talking of Apollo, And you can't talk about Apollo without talking about other traditions, because again, all cultures have a lot of similar deities, just different names, whatever. But this, and I thought that was interesting because I kept hearing, especially when I was in the prime number theorem, there was like a video I did where I talked about that, how spirit was like, they can't solve the prime number theorem because they're thinking about it in this really linear mathematical way of predictability, quantifying what's next based off of a pattern. But if they were to think about it as a song structure, a movement of music, you know? And so, and all this talk of solving a mystery, and like there's been so many videos where I just keep hearing, and music is like the biggest alchemical thing that they keep referencing in so many different ways. And so they were talking about oh, sorry, I have another library book that's ready for me. Cool. Ooh, I love my books. So Vishnu, they refer to Vishnu's 3 strides, which is the Trivikrama. It's the covering the universe in 3 strides. So the first stride would encompass the earth, the second the atmosphere, and the third the heaven. The movement of Apollo across the sky. So again, instead of tracking time traditionally, it was about a movement. I don't know if you see where I'm going here. Like I can feel it where I'm like, like instead of watching time, this thing that's not tangible, it's not even real, but movement is real. It's like, because movement implies the passage of time, and time being a measure of change or motion. Einstein's theory of relativity demonstrates that time can be relative to the observer's motion, meaning time can pass differently for objects in different states of motion. Oh yeah, and they wanted me, okay, so with that, okay, so movement implying the passage of time. When I got to passage, they were like, ding, 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 underline passage. So they're showing me, there's something here where there's like a portal, like a passageway. And then when we got to the part where, going back to Einstein's relativity, in different states of motion, they had me put emotion. And I was saying that music is a great alchemical instrument because of the emotion, that it can heighten emotion, all kinds, right? And you need emotion, energy in motion to create things. There's something here. We're going to get into it. We're already at 23 minutes. Holy moly. I don't know. We'll see. Oh, yeah. So going back to movements. So most people know Ra as like the sun god. But Ra actually is the 3 different movements of the sun. So Ra is actually the noon midday sun. Atum would be the evening sun, and Kepri is the dawn morning sun. So it's 3 different aspects of the same god, 3 different movements of self, or like, I don't know. There's something here about the 3s, but movement versus time. And how there's always movements in music. You see? So in the discussing of Apollo, they talked about how, because he was the god of a lot of things, of light, but also music, and music is just sound. And I had mentioned that there's a fellow spiritual teacher, Sadhguru. He talks about how in their tradition that creation was basically sound. That is what began it all. And he refers to it as like the roar of a lion. So they were saying that everything in the world has a number, that everything that exists is associated, has its own number. And that number is an expression of a note of music. Now, they're drawing this back to another video where I referenced the magic square. The magic square goes back to ancient China when this fellow discovered on a turtle's back in the little things on his shell. So picture a square that in every direction there was all these numbers, but in every way that he added them up, they always equal the same amount. And then there's these magical properties associated with it. And back in the day, I got really into, there was a magic square that was 1000 by basically 1111. 1111 by 1111 by 1111. And so I took all of those numbers and I gave it essentially a note, and then I composed music off of that. So there's something here around movement versus time, the three different aspects of the same God, the three different aspects of self, how we measure. And it's just so interesting because I always identify with the sun. In fact, most of my name is made up of the sun. And what's even crazier is I was born exactly at noon. I don't know. There's some like really, really interesting stuff here. Anyway, so we'll start with that. Let's pull some cards to see what else comes up. I don't know. I just don't know. We'll see. Let me see where this goes. Either way, again, kind of going to what that said is like, even if we don't really figure out where this is going, I see a threat. Like, I can feel and sense that there's things here, just in the way that it started yesterday, where I was like, Delphi. They're like, you need to look up Delphi. Also, what got me started on Delphi is because I literally go to a store called Delphi to pick up my cream. And it's just led to this whole other journey. So even if we don't solve it in this video, get the tickle. You know what I mean? Like where you're like, ooh, it's itching, you know? You got to scratch the mystery a bit to be like, oh, there's something here. I don't know what it is, but there's something here. And they want you to focus on it. Ooh, you know, one sec. I have a pie in the oven. Hold on. I'm going to keep shuffling. I just have to turn the oven off so I don't burn my pie. Perfect. Sorry about that, folks. But can we all agree collectively, like nobody wants to burn their pie, right? Okay. Okay, so what would you, oh, I know what they wanted to ask. No, they specifically wanted me to ask, what are you afraid of? Okay, well, gang, we're gonna find out and see if there's anything around these downloads. Yeah, that's what, I totally forgot about that. I got so engrossed with a couple other things. Okay, let's find out. What are you afraid of? Because again, what I keep being shown is that your fears are where the real magic lies. Because just like in homeopathy and other types of medicine, the poison is the medicine. So your fears, whatever you fear is like where lies the greatest power and healing, you know? Okay, what do you fear? Okay, so let's pick 3 cards. Oh, okay, wait, hold on here. Okay, do you want to come out? Is this the card that I want? Hold on, let me see what it looks like if I take that one out and put this one in. Okay, we're going 5 cards. Okay. Ooh, the Queen. Ooh, I've never pulled this card. I always get the King. I've never seen the Queen before. Whoa, look at that moon. And this kind of also looks like a big eye. Then we got the snake. Ooh, okay, the Queen. Yeah, north, south, east, west. The five, there's 6 directions. That's about, okay, we're gonna have to pull one more. Okay. Ooh, then we have Venom. The Venom. The Mask. The Empty Room. Oh, yeah. The Kiss. That will go on top. That's going to represent as above. And what's below? Okay, what's the last card? The Shapeshifter. Wow, 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 wow. Oh, boy. I can just tell. Okay, so there's something here about the 6 directions. North, south, east, west, and then ether, whatever down is. Ether and earth, middle, I don't know. As above, so below. Okay, the Queen. I don't even think I've read the Queen yet. Wow, this is great. And to think I was not going to do a video today. I was even thinking I might not do a video for a while. Well, who knows, maybe I won't post this. I always say that though, and then I do. The Queen, 83, which equals 11. My favorite number, always has. Alright, the Queen, the Empress, the Mother Queen, the Sovereign. Like her counterpart, the King, the Queen has a dualistic nature. Either she presides over the realm with grace and eloquence that comes from the heavens to uplift the spirit of others, or she falls into petty, contemptuous moods, casting a shadow across the land. If the King is the ego, the Queen is the expression of that ego in the world. She is the lotus's bloom, the dancer's bow, the moon's radiant reflection. When the Queen is seated in her rightful and righteous place, she is patient and forgiving. She waits for the grace of God and Goddess to move through her, striving and grasping for nothing. To be the benevolent leader, to embody the Queen, is to settle into deep trust, resolve, and power. The royal Queen fears nothing, for divinity itself cradles her heart. When dark, vain, wrathful, self-righteous, demanding. When light, the embodiment of grace, courage, resolve, stillness. Okay, that one doesn't actually resonate. The Queen does not accept the hand of a prince, but claims the throne, knowing the King draws near. She is a magnet for the fully embodied masculine and entertains nothing less. Okay, this is the line they want to focus on in terms of fears. Yes, I am sensing and feeling that I'm being shown that this fear is playing out in your life of accepting people who are not your equal. Accepting the hand of a prince. So you're accepting, they're showing me the term too, like casting pearls before swine. You're giving your power away to people, places, and things, and it's coming from a place of fear. That if you don't accept this, maybe no one else will come along. Or that you fear being alone, so much so that you would rather be with someone below your status in order to not be alone. I am also being shown a group of people, I still have to do this video, but like the mother wound. The mother wound, she's a deep one. My own experience of dealing with father wounds and mother wounds, I have found, yes, going back to being surprised, something that I did not see. I couldn't have in my wildest dreams imagined the severity of the mother wound. And if I had to choose the darkness, the devolvedness of one or the other, I would pick the father issues, the devolved father, over the devolved mother. So perhaps for some of you, you are fearing seeing the truth of your mother. There's a real mother wound here. Something to consider. All right, and that's the north. Yeah, the cold mother. Also, you will not find a narcissist story that does not involve the mother wound. And every narcissist begins with the narcissistic mother. That mother wound, the narcissist, yeah, and the mother. Ooh, okay, so the north, yeah, frosty. Okay, let's go to the south. We'll go, I'm gonna read it like north, south, east, west. So we'll go to the empty room. Empty room, where did you go? You're so empty, I can't see you. Oh, there you are, 147. Oh, 147 is 12. We started with 11. I love this. Okay, 147 it is. Look at us going in succession. Okay. The empty room. The vortex, the abyss, the nothing. The empty room haunts us all. It is a universal and all too frequent feeling of lack, of wanting, of the craving to fill ourselves with something, anything. We too often, see, this is what I mean. It follows this, what it was saying. Wanting something to fill the void. You're a queen, but to fill this void, you're just gonna put any old thing in there. Fill her up, buttercup. Instead of sitting with the nothingness, instead of sitting with self, instead of sitting in the darkness, the void. We too often attempt to remedy the discomfort of the empty room by any means necessary, leading us to a culture of more. Ironically, the empty room is filled to the brim with potential. Exactly, I've been saying this forever. Emptiness, the void, silence, it is filled. It is chock-a-block. It is like, again, it's a symphony. There is so much in silence and in the darkness and in the void. Emptiness. I can't stress it enough. Yet we perceive it as not enough. This card is a cry for patience, for sitting within the barren walls of not knowing, for awaiting true vision and purpose before attaching to what we should do next to save our outward appearance. Be with the nothingness. Be with the impatience. The empty room has immense power. Ooh, I saw that as the empty room has immense prayer. And I think the last time I had that, the empty room comes out a lot. The empty room has immense prayer. And prayer is power. Okay, anyway. Let others wonder what you are doing. If you can settle into the magic of emptiness, you will soon hear its whispers of wisdom. Yeah, ding, ding, ding. A day of silence is a surefire way to harness the power of the empty room. The archetype of the empty room is also portrayed as the hungry ghost, always feeding and never satiated. What do I also keep talking about? Rahu, the head of the snake, gobble, 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 never be satiated. When light, spaciousness, potential, possibility. When dark, addiction, insatiability, more for more's sake. So, Yeah, do you fear being alone? Do you fear certain emotional expressions? Like, do you fear anger? Do you fear your grief? Do you fear happiness? A lot of people think that happiness and these things, and then actually when they receive it, they actually don't know how to handle it. They haven't healed. That's why we see a lot of self-sabotage. It's like a lot of people are afraid of success. A lot of people are afraid of real love. A lot of people are afraid of being authentic. People are afraid of intimacy, aren't they? Being real with self, being real with another person. A lot of people are afraid of being seen. And seek to be seen. I talked about this in another video of proving ourselves. If you can see me, it somehow proves my existence, that I am here, I exist, I matter. You don't need the validation of another person, you just exist. And you're not the seeker, you're the seer. The seeker is like that prince. When you're the seer, you're the queen on that throne, you're the king on that throne, you're the empress or the emperor. Okay, let's go to our south, the mask. Wow. We'll finish these and then I'll let you go because we're at 41 minutes. $187, 9. Okay, 187. The mask. The persona, the performance, the reveal. Exactly. Are you afraid to take off the mask? To be yourself? Do you know who's behind your own mask? Do you know who you are? Are you afraid to see who you are? We often think of a mask as something that conceals our identity, yet contemplate the possibility that the mask permits our true identity to be revealed. It allows. The mask gives voice to that which was previously rejected. When this card appears, enact the side of you that is seeking expression, yet was never given a role to play on the stage of your life. You are in the realm of theater, so anything is possible. Speak with the other's voice, embody the other's limbs. You are taking part in the ritual of expanding the self. There may be mischief and deception around, and others may be trying on new masks too. No one is sure who is who. It's likely you've become so attached to a single mask that you need to fall face forward into this perception-bending time. Trust it. When light reveals what has been suppressed, when dark further conceals what is rejected. Wait, I want to go back to the empty room for a hot second because they talked about addiction. And really, addiction is just not wanting to accept what is. And I keep coming back to this statement of reality always wins. You can check out, pill yourself in a cloud of smoke, drink yourself till the cows come home, shop, have sex, again, feed this bodiless snake. But reality is always going to win, because what always happens to addicts and alcoholics and whatever addictions, it's like people always say at some point it stops working. The mask comes off, it cracks. And what's there glaring at you, but because you've been so padded, you've put this just picture blanket upon blanket upon blanket. You've been so padded, swaddled, that you've become so sensitized in a way that you're like one big raw nerve because you haven't built up a skin. You haven't learned how to regulate, right? So then you fear emotions because they feel big when they're not. You've been swaddled like a baby. Anyway, think of a mask or costume you wore that felt empowering, marvelous, or fun. Who was it you were being? is that who still within you? As the Zen koan suggests, meditate on your original face, the one you had before your mother and father were born. Oh, I love that Japanese koan. Yeah, in Buddhism there's a lot of koans. I love those. I love a good mind bend. Okay, the venom. Ooh, we're going to the west. West is death. Okay, let's do it. $191. The poison, the curse, the toxin. See, the poison is the medicine, the venom. Death. It's in the west section. Much to our dismay, the venom is always lurking in the shadows in one form or another. Its toxic presence may be found in our relationships, thoughts, speech, or environment. Thankfully, the cycle of purification and detoxification comes so naturally that it is built into our every exhale. We breathe out carbon dioxide, and the plants return it to us as oxygen. Archetypal venom is rarely remedied as easily, however, and it can come in potent forms and quantities that are deeply damaging to us and to the world. When the venom card appears, there is a harmful substance in our psychic realm that must be identified. Perhaps your words have a sting of poison about them. Perhaps a relationship is slowly draining your reserves. Acknowledgement is the first step. Oh my God, going back to addiction. The first step in the program is to admit that you have a problem. You can't heal something that you're not willing to acknowledge, and it doesn't have to be about addiction. And as a collective, we can't heal things that we aren't willing to look at. Acknowledgement is the first step. Change is the second movement. The remedy will reveal itself in time, movement in time, and with it, forgiveness. When you harm another, you harm yourself. Keep in mind this goes for our earth as well, with cosmic consequences. The spreading of venom is like a chain reaction. When we strike others, it is likely we have ourselves been struck. Break the cycle. The kiss. Yes. The touch, the chemistry, the sex. Before a first kiss, the air is electrified. Each breath is alive with possibility and magic. Okay, they're really pointing out there's a lot of addiction here, because what they're showing me is that someone feels like they can't be intimate unless that they're wasted. Even if it's just like having a toke, having a couple drinks. It's like they're really showing me someone that, again, doesn't know how to live life on life's terms. That even for the exciting stuff, you have to dull it down. It feels like it's giving you heightened, but actually it's like it's dulling. It's keeping it in a very safe, contained box, but with like very little dial. Like, sorry, I digress, but they're really coming back to addiction here. What will their lips be like? Their tongue? Do they want me in return? The archetypal energy of the kiss is a heightened sensation of merging with other, of letting in what was moments ago separate. To become one. It is risky, but beautiful business. It is beautiful business. Every time I get to that line when I read this, I'm like, it is beautiful business. These moments forever change us, and we move past the solitary self toward union and acceptance. This card suggests true intimacy is around the corner, which requires bravery and surrender. When the kiss takes a non-human form, it may be experienced as touching the sacred, hearing a whisper, or being graced by a divine being. You will recognize the presence of the kiss by cold chills and an awakening of the heart. Yeah, going back to fear. I know I do a lot of love readings, and I know a lot of people are always like, I can't wait to meet the one. Now, I've been taught this in many different modalities of spirituality, but like if it's not here yet, there's always divine timing, but ask yourself, is your container ready to handle real intimacy? Like that kind of love, holy sacred union, it's not low vibrational stuff. Can you hold that? Do you know how to be really real and intimate? Sex isn't just sex. It is about emerging. Do you know how to let someone in and see all of you? Do you know how to be vulnerable? You know? Do you know how to be brave? And going back to rejection, we've been talking about this in a few of the love readings. What does it mean for you to be rejected? I can't encourage you enough to go practice. I had this friend actually, he was going to doctor school, and he was actually in a 12-step program, and his sponsor was like, you need to go out and practice being rejected. I want you to go out and get rejected 30 times. That was his homework. Go out and get rejected. You're gonna see it's fine. And you're gonna, again, develop a skin, you know? Because again, what are newcomer addicts and alcoholics? They're like babies in the world. They don't have a thick skin anymore, and everything is so intense for them. And so you have to develop it. And that always stuck with me, and I've applied that to my life of like, go shoot your shot. Go with anything, jobs, people, you know, learn how to take rejection. It's not the end of the world, I promise you. Okay, the shapeshifter. Yeah, and then I'll let you guys go. Also, be willing to be surprised too. Like, does your mind always go to the negative of like, oh, I'm going to be rejected? Do you not allow yourself to go after things because you fear rejection? They're like, what if this person says no? Well, what if they do? It's like a 50-50, but even if they don't, I can assure you right now, it wasn't meant for you. It's fine. 91. The trickster, the elusive, the formless. The shapeshifter has a love of theater, games, and trickery. Its energy appears as one thing, only to reveal, excuse me, but I almost said revere. Yeah. Do you revere a trickster energy? Only to reveal a more complex story below the surface. The shapeshifter is within all of us to some degree. It is the side of ourselves that is slippery, non-committal, to some of you fear commitment, and experimental, and longs to dismiss the rules. We need its energy to adapt to the ever-changing landscape of our existence. When the shapeshifter card appears, it's important to imagine you are looking at life through a kaleidoscope rather than a single focused lens. At any moment, the scene may shift, revealing a more enchanting vision than you imagined. Be wary, though, as the allure of the kaleidoscope can leave you exhausted and yearning for solid ground. Dancing long-term with the shapeshifter requires a central pillar of integrity that links us back to our center. When light, vibrant, adaptive, humorous. When dark, charlatan, people-pleasing, and trickery. They're really emphasizing people-pleasing. Do you fear people's judgment of you if you weren't to be people-pleasing? Also, there's a term that I love called parent pleasers become people pleasers. Is there a mother figure in your life that you were constantly trying to please because they were narcissistic and abusive or terrible and cold, frosty? Frosty like the Canadian North of where I come. What would it mean for you to not be a people pleaser? What's the fear? What's the fear of what would happen if these also, because the people that we're usually trying to people please, they're usually garbage. They're usually enacting the parent in our life that was terrible to us, that the little kid in us is seeking, if I'm just good enough, if I just if I just please them enough, if they just see how good I am, how much I can do, then they'll treat me good, then they'll love me. The shapeshifter is related to the mask. Ooh, and what card did we have? The mask. Notice if these cards come up together in one reading. If so, you are in the realm of heavy theater, illusion, and possibly deception. Illusion for me is like addiction, self-deception. Where are you deceiving yourself? Where are you not being honest? The ultimate shapeshifter works undercover in service of the greater good. The diminished shapeshifter becomes a people pleaser. Okay, my dears. Well, that was a lot. I didn't know that that's where we were headed, but I feel like there was a lot of good stuff there. And as I always say, if this pissed you off, if this made you mad, those are also your cues. Ask why it's getting under your skin. Because usually when something really stirs us up and pisses us off, like for me, when I get super pissed off, when someone says something or does something, and I get into like kind of a righteous indignation where I'm like, that's literally my ding 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 to be like, oh, there's truth here, so we need to sit with that, you know? Anyway, hugs and kisses, collective. That was a lot. Take care out there, okay? And your fears literally they have your best medicine in there. I promise you.